Good morning, students. In last class we discussed about sound waves characteristics, that is pitch and loudness. Now we see the characteristics of quality. Today we see the quality of sound waves. It is the characteristics of a sound that enables us to distinguish between two sounds of the same pitch and loudness produced by two different sources. It depends upon the waveform of the sound. For example, you can recognize your family members by their voice without seeing them, because each of them has a voice of different quality. This quality of sound is called its tone. Some vibrating objects produce sound of a single frequency. For example, a tuning fork, some vibrating object do not produce a sound of single frequency. They produce sounds of other frequencies simultaneously. For example, guitar and sitar. They produce the sound of a single frequency called the basic or fundamental frequency. Along with it, they produce a mixture of sounds of their frequencies, that is called harmonics. The harmonics give richness, that is the musical quality to the sound. Different instruments, depending on their shapes and size, produce different numbers of harmonics of different relative loudness. That's why we can distinguish between sounds produced by different instruments. Then you know Golconda Fort near Hyderabad is one of the magnificent forts in India and an architectural wonder. There is a dome near its entrance. A hand cap at a particular point under this dome reverberates and can be heard at the highest point of the fort. Reverberates means the sounds reflects walls and incident on walls and again reflects. It is called a reverberates. It was used as warning system. When a god saw any suspicious movement outside the fort, he clapped at this particular point, and the army inside the fort was alerted to the danger of the enemy. Next topic, sound produced by humans. When you put your hand firmly on your throat and sing, oh, you can feel the vibration in your throat. When you sing low or high, you can feel the difference in vibration in your throat. You have a voice box in your throat. You have a voice box region, the throat region. The sound is produced by the voice box or the larynx. It is at the upper end of the windpipe. This is a voice box or larynx. It is at the upper end of the windpipe. Two ligaments called vocal cord. This vocal cords helps the sound produce. These vocal cords are stretched across the voice box. This one is a vocal cord. This stretched across the voice box or larynx in such a way that it leaves a narrow gap between them for the passage of air. When the lungs force air through the narrow gap, the vocal cords vibrate, resulting in the production of sound. Muscles attached to the vocal cords can make the cords tight or loose. When the vocal cords are tight and thin, the sound produced is of a higher pitch or higher frequency. When the higher pitch are produced, vocal cords are tight and thin. The sound produced is higher pitch or higher frequency. On the other hand, when the chords are loose or thick, the sound produced is of lower pitch or lower frequency. So this women's vocal cords. Women's vocal cords. Then this one is a windpipe. This one is a vocal cords close. This one is the vocal cords open. The vibration of a vocal cords produce sounds. The frequency of a sound produced women and children is higher than the frequency of the sound produced by men. You already study the women and children's produce a sounds a chiral sound. Men grave sound. You already know. Because men have longer vocal cords than women and children. The functioning of the vocal cord can be understood by carrying out the following activity. Take two rubber bands of equal length. Place them one above the other and stretch them tightly below the air through the narrow gap. Slit, it means very thin between them. As the air blows through the stretched rubber bands, sound is produced. As below air when the rubber bands are in relaxed position. We find that when rubber bands are stretched, a high pitched sound is produced. Because the rubber band stretched, the rubber band becomes thin and tight, so it produces a higher pitch and higher frequency. When the bands are relaxed, low pitch sound is produced because the rubber band becomes thick size, so it produces a low pitch sound. When you use thick rubber band, frequency will decreases. Thus, sound is produced as the air blows through the stretched rubber bands. Similarly, when the lungs force the air through the narrow gap between the vocal cords vibrate, producing a sound. Then we see structure and working of a human ear. You are able to hear sounds from your surroundings through the sensory organ called ear. When the sound propagating through air reaches your ear, you are able to hear it. Let us study the structure of the human ear. Our ear is divided into three parts, that is outer ear, external ear, inner, that is outer ear or external ear, middle ear and inner ear. First we see outer ear. This one is outer ear up to eardrum. Pinna up to eardrum is outer ear. Eardrum up to stirrup, it is called middle ear. Stirrup to cochlear, that is called inner ear. The outer ear consists of a flap-like cartilaginous structure called pinna. This one is called pinna, outer ear. This is a pinna. One on each side of your face, you already know. It collects sound waves from surroundings. The pinna is further connected to ear canal. This is a ear canal, at the end of which eardrum. This one is a eardrum. It is in this external ear end is eardrum is present. This eardrum or tympanic membrane is a stretched membrane that separates the outer ear from the middle ear. The next topic is a middle ear. It consists of a hammer, anvil, stirrup, a chain of 3 bones, that is hammer, anvil, stirrup. This one is stirrup, this is anvil, this one is hammer. It is a hammer shaped membrane, so it is called hammer. This hammer is connected to the eardrum, and the innermost bone or stirrup is connected to the inner ear. These 3 bones are named according to their shapes and are collectively called ossicles. It is a small, ossicles means a small bone. Middle ear is connected to the throat through eustachian tube. Inner ear. The inner ear consists of cochlear semicircular canals. Cochlear is a spirally coiled tube. This is a cochlear. It is looks like a snail shell. It is filled with the fluid and has many hair cells inside it. The receptors send impulses through sensory neutrons to the auditory nerve that connects inner ear to the brain. So you chart the working form of human ear. Pinna collects sound waves. It is a outer ear. This pinna collects sound waves from the surroundings and sends them to the eardrum through ear canal. When the sound wave falls on the eardrum, they make the eardrum vibrate. The 3 bones, hammer, anvil, stirrup, receive the vibration from the eardrum and amplify them. The middle ear works, the sound waves are amplified. Then cochlear receives the amplified vibrations from the 3 bones. The sensitive hair cells present in the cochlear convert them into nerve impulses. The nerve impulses are carried to the brain through auditory nerve. Then it comes to the brain, converts nerve impulse into the specific sounds. This is the working of a human ear. The next topic is audible and inaudible sounds. You have learned that a vibrating object produces sound, but when you vibrate your hand forward and backward, you do not hear any sound. Why? Because our ears do not respond to sound having frequency less than 20 Hz. Also, frequency higher than 20,000 Hz cannot be heard by human beings. The sound whose frequency lies between 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz that we are able to hear is called audible sound. So, the range of audible sound is 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. The sounds inaudible to human having frequency less than 20 Hz are called infrasonic sounds. Then above the 20,000 Hz, that is a ultrasonic sound. Rhinoceros communicate with one another by using infrasonic sounds of frequency as low as 5 Hz. Animals like whales and elephants also produce infrasonic sounds. A low frequency infrasonic sound is produced before the main shock waves during an earthquake. The sound, when heard by animals, makes them alert and they show abnormal behavior. The sounds inaudible to humans having frequency more than 20,000 Hz are called ultrasonic sounds. The animals like dolphins, bats, produce ultrasonic sounds. Bats use it to locate objects in the dark, and dolphins use it to find their way in the oceans. Dogs can hear up to 40,000 Hz. There are special vessels known as Galton's vessel that can produce sounds of frequency more than 20,000 Hz. The owners of dogs can use these vessels to give signals to their dogs.